Mm.
Good and sweet had together.
Oh, vitamin C to get your day started.
From whatever, we will still be friends forever. Probably not.
I think that's
Probably not.
I think that's as much as we can legally
Unless
play
you're
anyway.
me and Darren. And then
Yeah.
somehow we can remain friends for a stupid long amount of time.
Yeah, it's 7th grade.
That was a different song than normal.
Yeah. Well,
Something
So
y'all
much for
listeners
Hands of the Working Man.
aren't used to listening to, but today's a special
Zane.
day.
Sorry, Zane.
not
Today's
the
a special
Zane,
day.
Not the Zane Williams intro we're used to.
So I am the old man of the group,
Right?
Yeah.
and
In honor of your oldest, we played a new song.
yeah, and I didn't just graduate high school. By the way,
Yeah.
I think I could have done it better if I'd redid it though. But anyway,
I think that's the dream, right? To like go back now with the knowledge. Like,
some real
if you give
Billy
anyone
Madison
the option,
type situation.
yeah, go back with the knowledge you have.
Oh, I would have dominated in football. Oh, 5A football wouldn't have been this. We'd have won
mean-
state for sure.
I mean, everything.
No,
Football, work, girls, like it'd have been,
Yeah.
been
Confidence is
successful.
high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
successful in everything.
Got a couple bucks in my pocket.
So
Hauled
we
the Jack in
we
the
thought
Box
we'd
taco.
break
That's some
into
good
the
stuff.
normal programming routine of teaching you cool manly stuff and new hobbies and new skills to let Wade just maybe spend a minute talking to his daughter directly, and then maybe telling us a little bit about being a dad to your listeners. And I don't know how you feel, Wade. What's going on right now?
Well, first of all, no matter what I say next, I do believe that my daughter's ready.
Mm-hmm.
She's for an 18-year-old girl, she's
I mean, this is basically the reason we started this podcast. Right now.
Well, it's one of the reasons, definitely one of the big reasons I want to do this podcast, just to not only become a better man, but pass along maybe a few nuggets of wisdom that I've learned in 41 years. And those are few and far between. But that's not really what this is about. But man, it's been a pretty tough couple of weeks, and it's not anything anyone else that has children doesn't eventually go through. So it's not like I'm the only one that's ever had to do this. But no, my daughter graduated high school this I guess 2 weeks ago now, and she's been gone. She graduated on Thursday.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Not to you, to her.
Oh yeah,
You didn't do anything.
you're right. I did. In order for her, it was mainly my wife's
Right.
genetics that got her through high school, not necessarily mine. She's got a lot of friends because of me. She's
Yeah.
smart because of me.
Yeah.
I'm
Smart-
kidding. My
smart
wife
because
has
of
way
her
more friends
social.
than me.
Yeah.
But no, it was kind of funny because I guess about a month before she graduated, she found out that she got accepted into Baylor University, which is a university here in Texas.
Yep.
Waco, Texas.
Yeah, and so I'm pretty excited about that. She wants to do theater, and just to give you a little background on me, I think that's a gargantuan waste of time. There's not a whole lot of degrees that have the potential to make less money when you.
It's not that he doesn't have faith in you.
No, I'm her dad, so I think she's good at that. I think she has skills and she's very talented in that area. But she actually got into Baylor theater, which this year with COVID there was a lot more competition because it was all online auditions and stuff, and so people who would generally have trouble making it to a different town to audition didn't have that problem anymore. So I'm going to get this number wrong, but I think there was like 4,000 applicants
wow.
and they picked 30.
Wow.
And so, the only thing I can relate to is sports, and when you try out for sports or whatever,
Yeah.
I always felt like the competition was stiff, whether I made it or not. And so, anyway, so she did that. She also got into OU theater, which was a big deal, and she got into University of Texas Film School, which, again, I knew nothing about, but apparently that's a pretty prestigious school to get into. And if y'all haven't figured it out from earlier podcasts, you will as this podcast goes on, but I'm a fairly conservative-minded fella, so I was hoping that she would get into Baylor.
Right. I was too.
Because theater is, it's a little bit out there for me on most subjects, and I don't have my head in the sand, but I was hoping Baylor might, maybe she wouldn't be a pregnant teenager trying to get an abortion in every play that she's in. It wouldn't be, most of the plays hopefully will be something I can take her grandparents to or something. So anyway, I'm very proud of her.
Have you had that conversation with her, or is this the first time she's going to hear?
Oh no, we've talked about this extensively
Extensively.
Yeah.
Yes.
And but a little background on her. She made she was obviously AP classes, dual credit classes. She made a 34 on her ACT, which 36 is the best you can do. So when you hit 34, colleges are generally like, hey, you should come to our college. So she worked her tail off, and she's paying for a lot of that through scholarships and stuff, which is good.
That's good. Baylor's expensive.
Baylor is quite a bit more expensive, but not so much more expensive than like OU would have been with like out-of-state tuition and stuff like that. And apparently they don't waive that anymore. I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's what we've got. That's what we were told. Anyway, it was still more expensive than any other school that she applied to.
Sure.
But she got it down to almost nothing, so I'm pretty pumped about that. But it's a weird feeling because parenting has been
your number one job.
Yeah.
Well, it's
your focus for
it's
15 years.
It's my number one job, but it's a weird description because it's one of the most rewarding things you could do, but it's also one of the most difficult things you can do. And she's a good girl, like I said, she doesn't I didn't know what she was doing a lot in high school because she always takes care of her business. And she just she's made good decisions, and I mean that could take a turn at any moment, but she's done well in that area.
I feel like you're either the world's greatest dad or the world's luckiest person because your oldest daughter is extremely talented and smart, and from what you say, just an all-around great person. And then I hear about your two younger daughters, and I'm like, golly, I brag about you all the time because I'm like, man, Wade's kids, I don't know what he does, but one of his younger daughters, he was like wanting to get into barrel racing, and he's like, that's okay, I support it, but I want you to handle it. And she does it on her own, like very successful, very talented. So like, I don't know.
Which people who don't know, like that's a hard world to get into.
I'm just super impressed overall with your parenting skills. I think you're an incredible dad. You raised your girls extremely well. I don't know if you have any nuggets to impress on me and Darren or the listeners, but you did a good job. So it's cool to hear that your oldest one is turning out and doing all this awesome stuff.
Well, we don't talk a ton about this on the podcast, but I contribute a lot of it to my faith. I feel like it's the grace of God. Like I'm by far, I mean, and I don't think you were claiming this, but I'm not a perfect dad. I've made several mistakes, and especially raising 4 daughters, I've made a lot of mistakes as far as, when you're 40, what is going on in an 18-year-old's life seems pretty, not insignificant, but not important in the grand scheme of things. And so that's probably the biggest lesson I've learned raising girls is whatever's going on in their life at that moment is the most important thing to them.
Right.
And rightfully so, because I mean, her senior year of high school with COVID and everything, it was tough, but what was going on in her life was really important, and I've had to kind of rein in my dad emotions of like, okay, honey, like this boy is not, you're not gonna, in 10 years it's not even gonna be a big deal, and it won't, but right now it's a huge deal. So like, if I had any parenting tips, I would say, regardless of what you think or what you know, when they're dealing with something, that is the most important thing that you
almost
that they could
like
possibly
be in the
do.
moment, like just be there with them. Like you may not understand it, but just try to be. I don't know.
And
that makes sense.
She'll be embarrassed by this story, but just a small story about raising daughters. When she was in 5th grade, my wife's a photographer, and so she works evenings sometimes. And when she was in 5th grade, they get the movie about puberty.
Oh yeah, well,
And
sex ed talk.
yeah, it's not so much sex ed, I don't think, but it's just puberty or whatever. And so, and of course, my wife is an amazing human being, and she is very honest with our girls and tells them, you know, the facts of life, so to speak. Anyway, so I had to pick her up from school the day that she watched that movie, and this, you know, this was fifth grade, and so me trying to be honest and a good dad and wanted to have open lines of communication, I told her, I said, babe, and of course Kylie's telling me, she's like, hey, she watched that movie today, and you know that she might have questions or whatever. So I don't figure she wants to talk to her dad about that stuff. So I told her, I said, hey, I said, Mom said y'all watched that movie today, and I said, I know you probably want to talk to your mom about it, but if you ever have any questions, I said, I'm your dad. I can answer the questions. I said, if I don't know the answers, we'll figure it out. I said, but I just want you to know that you can talk to me whenever you want to. And so it was silent in the car for a little bit, and we're driving home, and she goes, Dad, she goes, what's better, a pad or a tampon? And I said, well, I don't know. I go, I'm assuming from what goes on at the house that a tampon's better. And she goes, oh, okay. And I thought, man, I'm nailing it. Like I'm handling
Got
this.
down.
I'm not swerving into a bridge embankment to end it all or anything. Like I'm doing so good. And so, I mean, we had like a 5-minute ride home, and so this is all happening pretty quick, but it seems like it's taking forever. And so a few more moments of silence go by, and she goes, how do you use a tampon?
Oh no.
I was like, honey, I said, I know it's a school night, but would you like to stay up late tonight, and when your mom gets home, she can tell you about that? Because then I was trying to keep the car on the road. But anyway, we do have a pretty good, I mean, I feel like we have a great relationship. She talks to me more than I probably want to know, but it has been, you know, between making sure you're in the moment with your kid and realizing that's the most important thing in their life, and trying to develop a relationship where I'm not her friend, I am her father, but I always tell her, I say, I can't help you if I don't know what's going on, and so you got to talk to me. And she's done really well at that. I mean, her and my wife obviously are closer because they can relate to each other a little bit better, and they talk about things, and I hear about those things, and some things I don't want to hear about, and some things I do. But anyway, that's also pretty important in that. But so she got into Baylor, and then she decided that after graduating high school, she was going to go work the next 8 out of 10 weeks at a church camp, kind of northeast of us, 45 minutes.
But
and
she's
so
pretty much gone.
yeah, so she graduated on Thursday, and she left Friday morning, and she's been home, I think, once since then. So it was by far the most difficult thing I've had to do as far as parenting, because, you know, I set her down the week before she left, and I was like, babe, I said, I feel like I failed you. I said, you don't know about taxes. You don't know. I mean, you just know I tell her taxation's theft all the time, but she doesn't know how taxes work. She doesn't know about a mortgage and you know, just things like that, which she doesn't really have to know that right now, but there's just so many things when your kid leaves that you're like, golly, you know, like there's things that, you know, she can check her oil, and she can, you know, change her tire, and she knows, you know, basic things, but there's just so many things that you start going, oh my gosh, I only got a week left.
Yeah.
I got to get some things in. And so, but she's prepared. Probably the oldest I've ever felt in my life is when she got accepted into Baylor Theater. Her and my wife drove down to Waco, which is 2.5 hours from here, and they had to go get a bunch of merch. So Kylie sends me a picture of 3 different T-shirts, and they all say Baylor Dad. And I was like, I don't want any of those. Get me a hat.
Give me give me the bumper sticker.
Yes,
babe.
you know, it was definitely one of those moments where I felt, golly, like, am I ready for this? Am I capable of moving forward? And it's been pretty tough just to kind of let her go and see her flourish. I'm sure most parents have that sense about them when that time comes, but it kind of caught me off guard. Like, I figured my wife would be, you know, teary-eyed, and she was, but we actually take her to Baylor in August, and that's probably gonna
Be the big
That's
day.
probably going to seal the deal as far as
dropping her off and driving home.
yeah, dropping her off and driving
Passing
home.
McLean Stadium on the way out of town.
Yeah,
and saying your final goodbyes.
I'm sure we'll have to stop and get a French door magnet and a shiplap
Oh yeah,
thing for Chip and Joanna.
But go to Magnolia on
Yeah.
the way out.
But
Go by Buzzard Billy's, you'll feel better.
Buzzard Billy's.
It is my favorite
Good
place
little
in
restaurant
Waco.
on the river.
I don't guess I've ever been there.
It is right.
And I'm all my family that went to college and graduated, they all graduated from Baylor. So
Really?
We used to go on vacation to Lake Travis twice a year, and we would always stop in Waco and stop at the bookstore. So I feel like I spent a bunch of time, but I've never been to Buzzard Billy's.
Oh man, I with the amount of followers we have, I hate to make the place so popular I can't go in there. But
What is it?
it's I don't know.
Is it barbecue or burgers?
Just
No,
a
it's just
seafood
a-
restaurant on the river.
Yeah, like a little restaurant on the river, like sits on the Brazos. It's straight across from McLean. So exit
Buzzard,
University,
Buzzard Billy's.
go down the next one, do a U-turn, go
Yeah.
back to Buzzard. Oh yeah,
We'll
it's
go there.
awesome.
That's for sure.
Feed the turtles. We went there this last weekend, and my kid, that's all he did was throw French fries. He
That's
ordered
turtles.
his meal to get French fries
Just to
to
throw, 'em at
throw in the
turtles.
river and feed the turtles. But yeah,
Well, enjoy that because we
6
did.
and a say. So Darren having a 3-year-old, 4-year-old.
3 will be 4 next month.
He's got what? What is that? 12 years? 14 years left.
14 years, yeah.
What do you think, Wade?
Man,
You got
just
14 years
impart
back
some
with your
wisdom.
daughter. What are you gonna do different? Anything? Anything you'd tell her?
Taxes.
Yeah.
How to do
well, I
taxes.
pretty much drove that home.
Yeah.
Don't pay your taxes.
Yeah, don't happily pay taxes.
Pay 'em with anguish.
You know, I've noticed because I have her and then I have twin 14-year-olds and then we have a 3-year-old. And I've noticed with this 3-year-old, Maggie, my patience is probably tenfold from the first one.
Yeah.
And the first one I thought, she had to, I didn't want her interrupting anyone. I didn't want her, and
Right.
and so I probably was a little bit hard on her, and my patience probably wasn't up. So that's probably what I would do different, is I would probably realize some of these things don't matter. She's a
Right.
little kid.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think I figured that out a little bit. But anyway, it's also an exciting time because, she's still a tax deduction. So that's good.
Yeah.
As long as she's,
We're about to
on
get
on my insurance.
we're about to get Joe money for all those.
Mhm.
Uncle Joe's about to start sending you money monthly.
Again?
Yeah. You didn't hear that?
No.
Yeah, for all your dependents starting next month or end of this month. Like $300 a month
Per kid?
per kid.
Where's that money coming from?
Well, your tax dollars, obviously.
That-
And then they're going to tax you on it when you at the
I
end of the
know.
year. It's the whole taxation without representation.
Well, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
But-
stupid. But you're about to start. So you're about
It's-
to rake in like $900 a month
Yeah.
for them chitlins you got. I only got.
I
the
need a
300.
side by side too.
I got one for sale.
You do really?
Yeah.
Is it
It's a
one
3.
row or two
No,
row?
it's 1 row. It fit 3 though, and I built a bed for it. So
Did you?
I'm just saying.
So when does she start in Baylor? August, you said?
Yeah, I think it's like August 15th or something like that. We got to take her down there for freshman orientation. But anyway, it's
Awesome, you did good.
it's
You should be
definitely.
proud.
Oh, I couldn't be more proud of her if she was going on a full football ride or
You
something.
did
You
a
know,
good
like
job, man.
it's
Yeah, that's pretty.
it's
Awesome.
kind of mind blowing, but she's good, and I think I know she'll do well. I just hope the trials and tribulations are few and far between. But
Right. Well, Wade,
They're gonna come.
we're gonna make this podcast short, so we'll give you just a few minutes. Anything you want to say to her before maybe she'll listen to this one day?
no, Macy, if you ever want to do a podcast with a couple of buddies, I think you should do it because it's fun.
All right. Thanks, man. Proud of you. Good job, Macy.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Macy.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. Good luck being dads out there.
Yeah.
Godspeed.
Godspeed.
There you go.